What is going on, guys? This is Ben here bringing another Brawl Stars video. Today is episode 1 or part 1 of a 3-part series here where we're going to be taking a look at the old star powers versus the new star powers that are releasing every week for every brawler in Brawl Stars. So we're going to take a look at 9 of them at a time, and we just so happen to have 9 of them that have been released soon here. So we have Shelly, Nita, Carl, Rosa, Rico, Colt, Bull, Dynamike, and Spike star powers took over today. Then in 3 weeks, as we get 9 more star powers released in game and to cover and unlock and all that, I'll make a part 2 of this going over those, and then obviously part 3 is going to be 3 weeks after that when 9 more are released, because we're going to be getting a new star power for every single brawler, and there is 27 of them, so that lines up perfectly doing 9 of them every 3 weeks or so. So first and foremost, let's go over Shelly. Her original star power is Shell Shock. Shelly's super slows down enemies for 3 seconds, and her new star power is Band-Aid. When Shelly falls below 40% health, she instantly returns to full health. Band-Aid recharges in 20 seconds. So basically, once you spawn on the map, you get 20 seconds to just do whatever, not die basically. Let's say you're playing Showdown, you don't want to die for 20 seconds, and then your Band-Aid will be active. And then you fall below 40% HP, you get fully recharged, you get your entire health back. Whereas her other star power, Shell Shock, basically when you super, it just slows down the enemy's movements to a screeching halt for like 3 seconds. So they are both very useful, but we have to give it to Band-Aid because it's absolutely broken right now. Like, this star power is amazing. By the time you're watching this in the future, or if you're watching this in the future, by the time the Supercell developers are getting back from their month-long break, this will probably be nerfed. So if you're watching this in the future, Band-Aid may be significantly worse than it is now, but for the time being, and it's pretty safe to say, we're not going to be seeing a nerf for like probably a month or so. Band-Aid is definitely the recommended one to get because it's crazy. It's absolutely amazing to basically get an extra life in basically every single scenario where you're fighting someone, you're running away, you're about to die, you survive. In close-up engagements, this gives you the upper hand if you have your Band-Aid active. And this is why Shelly is kind of taking over Showdown right now, especially because she wins so many close engagements and the Band-Aid is so helpful. It was even annoying in big game trying to destroy Shelly, who had the Band-Aid active. It just allowed her to get so many more super shots off. So Band-Aid is by far the most broken star power in all of Brawl Stars right now. So if you have the choice, definitely purchase star power Band-Aid in the shop. I'd recommend waiting till you have your coins, obviously. I wouldn't recommend buying them with gems. I don't really think it's worth it. Just kind of wait till hopefully you get a star power you want in the shop. But obviously Shell Shock still is very solid as well, but just right now, Band-Aid is so much better. Now next up we have Nita. Her original star power is Bear With Me. Nita recovers 500 health whenever her bear hits an enemy. When Nita deals damage, her bear regains 500 health. Her new star power is Hyper Bear. Nita's bear attacks faster. Time between swipes is reduced by 50%. So basically, he's swiping like crazy, he's attacking like so much faster, but we're gonna give the edge to the star power with Bear With Me for the fact that a lot of times Nita's bear actually doesn't end up hitting anyone. It's just used for control and like zoning out an area or locking a brawler down or having them, basically forcing them to retreat maybe back to the spawn, and their teammate has to help them take out the bear. But a lot of times, honestly, the bear isn't going to be dealing a whole lot of damage. Maybe I would recommend putting on Hyper Bear in big game, because that's when the bear actually shines and it's really tough to deal with because of that boosted health. But in all other terms, I would rather have the healing if the bear ended up actually getting a hit, or even with yourself, you're more likely to get shots landed on enemies and healing up your bear and just allowing it to be that annoying force to deal with. And basically, I'd say it's more useful keeping your bear alive and yourself alive, just having them push out as opposed to getting off a couple more swipes, because in reality, most people are just going to avoid the bear and run away from it, and it's not going to get a whole lot of swipes. Now we have Carl here rounding off the first wave of the 3 star powers that were released. For his first original star power, it was Power Throw. Carl throws his pickaxe with 13% more speed, allowing it to travel faster and return faster. His new star power that was released is Protective Pirouette. I don't know if I'm even saying that right, but during Carl's super, all damage he receives is reduced by 30%. So they're actually, this one is kind of like a split decision here. They are actually both very good and very helpful. With Carl, when you're using his super, you get that shield around him, and a lot of times with Carl, you are going to be on top of a brawler, and that's very helpful, having that reduction shield around him to reduce some damage that he's trying to get with his super. At the same time, his power throw is also very helpful when you're trying to get a lot of damage off with his main attack, control an area, and it'll just allow you to throw his pickaxe more frequently and get more damage off over time. So I would say this, if you're kind of like more passive and more kind of sitting back and you really rely on maybe getting your super to go in, then I would say protective pirouette is a little bit better. On the closer range maps where there's a lot more walls, I would say you'd want the protective pirouette as well, because a lot of times you're going to be bouncing his pickaxe off a wall and getting it returned to you fast anyways. On the more wide open maps, and the more, if you're a little bit more aggressive, I'd say with Carl, I would say you go for power throw here. Personally, I'm gonna stick with power throw for now. I like that added, and it comes down to preference too. If you want his pickaxe moving faster and you're able to get more hits off with it, I like it a little bit better, but they're both pretty solid choices. So say you opened up one from the box, I wouldn't feel too bad about either one. Number 4 here, we have Rosa. Her original star power is Plant Life. Rosa recovers 200 health per second when inside a bush, and then her new star power is Thorny Gloves. Rosa's punches gain 200 damage during her super. And that's the key, it's only during her super. So it is very helpful when you're being aggressive with her. A lot of times you are going to be in engagements with their super activated, so you're going to be getting a ton of damage off with that. But at the same time, I find myself loving Plant Life a little bit more. I feel like a lot of the Siege map have some grass in there. In Showdown a lot, a lot of the Showdown maps obviously have grass too. The key with Plant Life versus Thorny Gloves, like the healing you get from Plant Life is a lot, especially when you're able to fight in grass and brush and all that stuff. Now later on, like in the late game in a match, when like say there's a brawler that has a lot of destructive power that destroys walls and grass and everything, later on late game there might not be as much grass to sit and cover and hopefully fight in, but just how much advantage it gives her when fighting in the grass or versus other brawlers where she has this healing. It saves you a lot of times as well. Maybe trying to run away because you're weak health or whatever. If you're able to run away and go get into the grass, it actually keeps you alive a lot longer, and this comes up a lot in Siege, Gem Grab, Showdown, and it's just very, very helpful. It helps you kind of 1v1 more when you're fighting another brawler. But I would say Thorny Gloves is definitely better on a lot of the maps that maybe don't have a lot of grass or brush to like hide in and whatnot. But overall, just my personal preference, I would choose Plant Life. I feel like you get a lot more use out of it after testing both a lot in games and whatnot. So Plant Life takes the cake for me right now, but Thorny Gloves, they're both pretty solid, but personally I just like Plant Life in more scenarios, so I think that would be one to get first. Next up, we have Rico. His original star power is Super Bouncy. Rico's bullets from attack and super alike get supercharged by their first bounce and deal 100 plus damage. His new star power is Robo Retreat. When Rico falls below 40% health, he runs 34% faster. Simple and easy. He literally zips around the map with Robo Retreat, his new star power. So I would say this one's pretty dry, cut and clear with me for which one you should pick. If you feel like you are very sufficient and very high skill cap, basically, let's say if you feel very confident and are good with Rico and bouncing his shots, I would say go with Super Bouncy. Get that one first, because it really is a higher skill cap star power. Because a lot of times with Rico, it takes a lot of like practice and learning to be always thinking to bounce your shots first off a wall to get that added, because they'll just originally go further, and then if you have the star power, they'll deal that extra 100 damage. So you get a lot more damage off, but it takes a lot of, it's a much higher skill cap to learn to do that. If you're kind of maybe mediocre or average with Rico, I would actually say go for Robo Retreat better, or Robo Retreat first, because it's going to give you more benefits, because when he falls below 40% health, he literally zips around the map. He can dodge so much better. He can close ground so much better. It's just crazy that 30% faster, you actually feel it a lot. So for all you novices out there, go for Robo Retreat, and for all you pros out there, go for Super Bouncy. So next up here, we have Colt. His old star power is Slick Boots. Colt's movement speed is increased by 8%. His new star power is Magnum Special. Colt's attack range and bullet speed are increased by 11%. This one, I think in almost all scenarios, you're going to want to choose Magnum Special. I think it just adds another level to Colt where basically you're going to outrange a lot more brawlers, and it just gives you the added range is actually pretty ridiculous, let's be honest, because it almost puts him on par with Brock and Piper for range, whereas if he doesn't have it, it feels like he's super short range and he can't really compete with them, let's say in like if you're 1v1ing versus them in a way. I would say also the bolt speed is nice as well, the 11% boost to that on his main attacks, because it feels like his shots get there quicker and you don't have to be as exact with your shots too. So I don't know, I personally like Magnum Special in pretty much every scenario. Now for Bull, Dynamike, and Spike here, we had to hop onto the developer build because they're actually not releasing in game until tomorrow, but we can still show you them a little bit early here. So Bull's old star power is Berserker. When Bull falls below 40% health, his reload speed doubles. And then his new one is Tough Guy. When Bull falls below 40% health, he gains a shield that reduces all damage he takes by 30%. So Berserker has some interesting uses, like in heist and whatnot. Say for whatever reason you're near a heist safe and you're below 40% health and no one happens to notice you're there or attacking, you can get some crazy damage off on a heist safe. A Bull is going to win versus a Tough Guy Bull in like a close range scenario because you're both going to fall below that 40% health. But with Berserker, he's going to attack a little bit faster and be able to take out the other Bull a little bit quicker because he's going to have that basically attack speed doubled. So it is kind of nice to have that, but at the same time, I've made videos on it in the past. It doesn't come up a whole lot. So yeah, I just think like the shield comes up more because with Bull, think of almost any other interaction besides a Bull versus a Berserker Bull is a lot of times with Bull, you're going to be able to kill the brawler if you're up close and on top of them in like 2 shots or maybe even 3. Just he does so much damage up close, you never really need that Berserker too often. Whereas the Tough Guy is probably just going to allow you to get closer to that brawler to get you into your kill zone range, and it's going to keep you alive from running away. Like I just feel like it comes up more and has more uses, and I just feel like it's overall better. So I like Tough Guy more than I like Berserker, so I'd recommend getting Tough Guy first. Now next up we have Dynamike. Original star power is Dynajump. Dynamite can ride the blast wave of his explosives to jump over obstacles. And then we have the new one, which is Demolition. Adds 1000 damage to Mike's super. Which one to get first kind of falls under the same scenario as with like Rico. If you're like really good with Dynamike, you're a high skill cap player, or just in general you're like a master with Dynamike, I would say you're probably going to get more value out of Dynajump, because this is another high skill cap star power in the game where if you can truly master it and learn it well, it's kind of crazy what you can do. Because when you jump with this, yes, you can go over walls, but at the same time you can still basically be invincible if you're flying throughout the air, dodge damage, dodge attacks. And it's kind of crazy. Like if you watch some pro players with Dynamite, what they can actually do with Dynajump is pretty absurd, and it's literally game changing for them. But now if you watch like someone that maybe isn't super good, you maybe get the occasional run away, jump over a wall and get out of there, and it's very helpful. But a lot of times it's very hard to throw perfectly where you want your Dynamite to go, to bounce exactly where you want to go. So in that sense, I would say Demolition is actually better, because you are going to be able to one-shot so many more brawlers with this super as opposed to not having this. And I feel like just the average player, this is going to be so much more helpful. So if you're an average player, go for Demolition, because then you're going to be able to one-shot Colt, Brock, opposing Dynamikes, Tick, Barley, Rico, Piper, Spike, and Crow. So you're going to be able to one-shot so many more brawlers, whereas if you don't have this super on, you're only going to be able to one-hit Tick with your super. So I think that adds a lot to it, and you're going to feel that a lot more than being able to maybe jump. Now, if you're, like I said, a pro, and you want to, basically you want to get really good with Dynamite and take them to the way next level, Dynajump is going to be very useful for you. It's going to take a lot of time and practice to get really good with it. So next up we have Spike, his original star power, which is Fertilizer. After using super, Spike regenerates 500 health per second by staying in its area of effect. Spikes from the cactus grenade fly in a curving motion, making it easier to hit targets. They're both very interesting and very good. If it's a map where it's more closer range, or you're going to be facing a lot of closer range brawlers, I would say go with Fertilize, because it's really awesome being able to get that health regeneration. You can use it as defensive to basically heal up yourself, get you out of tough scenarios, or if you happen to get too close to a close range brawler, it's going to be nice because you can slow down and fight in your super and regain health while they're getting that slow on them, and you're just gonna be able to take them out. It has a lot of uses where you can maybe throw down your super and hit a brawler behind a wall, and while you're standing on it, you're gonna be healing up. Whereas Curveball, it looks really cool, it does, and the added movement of hitting the spikes with like the spin, it's helpful. It hits brawlers behind walls and everything, and you're gonna get this, basically you're gonna be using this every single spike main attack. So you're gonna feel this a lot more and see it a lot more throughout the game. But I think Fertilize is more impactful for the heal. It allows you to play Spike in a different way, in a different play style, where you can be more aggressive and get closer to brawlers and not have to worry so much about his low HP, because it basically heals them up quick and just very helpful in the close range scenario. But if it's a longer range map, then I would probably go with Curveball for the fact that it's easier to hit. You can hit her on the walls, it's nice, but I would just say, personally, I'm going to stick with Fertilize just for those instances where it does come up and it's really impactful and really useful. But if you're not maybe so confident hitting Spike's main attack with those original spikes, then I would say probably just test out Curveball. But personally, I do like Fertilize better, so if I had to choose it and do it all over again, I would get Fertilize first still, and then go to Curveball. I just like the added healing and whatnot. I think I repeated myself like 5 times, but obviously it's up to everyone's opinion on this one. Would you want to make it easier to hit your spikes, or do you want to be able to survive more and maybe have that different added playstyle where you can be a little bit more aggressive with them? So I like Fertilize a little bit better in this scenario, but they're both pretty good choices, and that's the same thing with any star power. It's not going to like make a brawler worse by any means, but those are just my choices. So as a recap, we're going to go with Band-Aid with Shelly, Bear With Me with Nita, Power Throw for Carl, Plant Life for Rosa, Robo Retreat with Rico, Colt with Magnum Special, Tough Guy with Bull, Demolition with Dynamike, unless you're very good. Then you probably go with Dyna Jump, and then for Spike, we're going to choose Fertilize first. So let me know your thoughts. Which star powers do you think you choose over the others? Do you think I was wrong on any of the ones? Let me know. But I hope you guys enjoy the video. Stay tuned for part 2. It'll be out once we have 9 more star powers to go over and everything. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.